your seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and Kerr bringing topics of all kinds, from cigars to sports, family and more. Everyday stories you'll want to explore. So take a puff or ponder away. Join the talk, it's the highlight of your day. Puff and ponder where the sparks ignite, conversations blazing day or night. Tune in now, let the stories take flight. It's the Puff and Ponder podcast, where we get it right. From fast cars to last night's game, family laughs or today's big name. We've got the topics, we've got the vibe. Stay tuned in and enjoy the ride. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. Oh, hesitate.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. I'm your host, Kevin Shahan, and joining me, as always, my co-host, Kerr Viajante. As I was playing the song, I saw your little Jumanji character down there, and I forgot I was going to cut that out because Wyatt's birthday was the other day, and Jessica got him a Jumanji game, and I'm like, well, he deserves a Jumanji character.
Yes,
so I need to 3D print a little Jumanji.
Yes, make sure you print two of them if you're going to be printing one of me.
Yes, I'll definitely do
Oh,
that.
great! Have Wyatt just mock me while he pays for it.
Yeah. We were talking in the green room for a minute before the show start that you got a yard sale coming up. Now, you mentioned about something about like beds that the kids have outgrown. Listen, I don't think I want somebody at my house that would buy a bed at a yard sale. I don't think I want that kind.
I take all kinds, bro. I take all kinds. I'm not mattresses, you silly shit. I'm talking about frames, man. Like,
Oh, I thought you were like mattresses. Like anybody that would buy a mattress at a yard sale, I don't want them peeking into my house to see.
No, man. We picked those up at the Salvation Army dump outside.
Okay,
that's where we get our mattresses. Yeah,
those people are looking in your house to come back and steal shit later.
Nothing
to get. I mean, I know there are people that need stuff. But
you're mocking those people, Kevin, as you made a comment earlier. First of all, I'm just going to let you know this. Jennifer has the show in the living room with the big screen TV and the surround sound. So,
big screen and surround sound, giving them mattress buying people knowledge of what's inside the house now.
Exactly. So, not as bad as my sister, who literally. It's funny. Is I was on the phone with my sister. This guy comes to the door. He's like, "Hey, did you get the big check in the mail?" She's like, "You probably are looking for someone else." And this guy just started talking, and my sister's just like, "Here, let me give you all the information about what's going to happen in my life over the next 48 hours, so you can come back and rob me." She's like, it's just me and my daughter here, and I work all day. I work for the school, and I'm like, I'm on the other line. I'm on the other line going, shut up. Shut up.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's Jessica talked about like she's redoing Wyatt's room, and he's got like this superhero stuff, and she's like, well, I could probably make some good money and put it on Facebook Marketplace. I'm like, how much do you want for everything? I'd probably get a couple $100. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll buy it. What do you want? $200? I'll give it to you. Just so we don't have to put it on Facebook Marketplace. And then I'll go donate it to Goodwill. And then I'll show a receipt that I bought it from a single mom for $200, and then maybe tax write-off. I don't want people coming to my house to buy something, and then nickel. Well, I don't know. The picture wasn't clear. Will you take 50 cents for it? And then I have to break something in front of them, throw it on the ground, smash it. Well, now it's worth nothing.
Our experience with Marketplace over the years, most recently too, because we did post some things on Marketplace, and I don't know why people do it. I don't know if people are that fucked up that they. I'm very cursy today, so I'm going to apologize to everybody. I'm very cursy today, but if people are that fucked up that they get their rocks off on, like, going, yeah, hey, I'll buy that. Hey, yeah, what like just to engage you, and even like to the point of, yeah, I know a lot of it's a scam. You know, they're like, oh, yeah, I don't have a Venmo, but if you give me your Venmo, you know, it's like, oh, people are always trying to scam you, but we have had some good luck with some good perk buyers lately. But it's a pain. It's like, hey, you want to meet here? Hey, you want to meet there? Hey, I'm not here. Hey, I'm 15 minutes. Hey, I missed the exit. And it's just like, son of a bitch. Because we don't have people. We had one person come to the house recently, and it was a young guy with his buddy, and they had a U-Haul, and they were just moving from Tennessee, and he's engaged. So they came up to pick up a couch. But other than that, we're meeting people. That was a judgment call. And the guy showed up. They were super nice kids, very young.
Yeah.
Jen cross-referenced him in Facebook. You know, he's a youth pastor, all that kind of happy horse shit.
If you're selling a couch, if you're selling anything over $100, yeah, it's probably worth it. I see in my local, I mean, you're probably in all the local groups too. You know, we're in like the Northport buy, sell, trade, the Free, the Port Charlotte, Sarasota. People selling like this, like this, whatever for $2. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. You know, I mean, I understand times are tough, but you know, it's like I'm not trusting anybody for $2. I'm like, I don't know, I just can't seem to trust you. Yeah. You know, and I don't know what it is about me. Maybe it's me being bougie, but I don't want to go buy things. I bought things off of favor, like hundreds of dollar things, you know, like my humidor I found on Marketplace and other stuff, but I don't know. I'm not about buy a toaster, you know, or the other weird things that people like toaster ovens, you know, a box of cups, a mug collection.
I know.
It's just like, who is buying this stuff? And you know, every time I do drive by a yard sale every now and then. I slow down. I slow down and look.
I do. I love it, man. I grew up like that. You know, I do dig yard sales.
My dad, we grew up too on I'd only want to go with him sometimes, going around Saturday mornings and, you know, yard sale. We used to have an old guy, Nick, here. He moved down from up north. He was a used car salesman, and he's got a real nice house on the water, a couple houses down. And he would spend all year long going to yard sales. I mean, he lives in $1 million house and just buying a bunch of crap just to have one epic yard sale of his own where he resold it. Yeah. Resell. But then everybody knew it was like a big thing. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, big sale. But you gambled on what wasn't going to sell because you knew for the rest of the week there was 2 big tables at the end of his driveway. Everything was free. Whatever didn't sell, everything was free. And then it was completely gone. And then he started over the next weekend. And that was
we get a lot of those people though. That's
Nick was like 90 used car salesman, and that was just what he liked doing. He didn't have to work anymore, and it was the thrill of the hunt when you talked to him. You know?
They probably made a couple bucks on it. I mean, listen, we used to go to a lot of flea markets too when I was growing up. It was like every Sunday at the drive-in, the old drive-in theater. They would actually freaking during the day they would have a big flea market. So, you know, that's the I guess the hillbilly country.
Do you ever have the like my parents before they moved into their little retirement community? Used to live in a nice community up in Venice, and it was thousands of homes in the little gated community area. And once a year they'd have a community garage sale where every house, so I mean, you spent 3 or 4 days driving, you know, I'm one that you walk up and down every street. And then, you know, my mom would always yell at him because he'd come home with more stuff than she'd be selling, you know. So it was basically nobody, but it was all the neighbors trading their weird shit. Is all like, wait, what is this?
Our old neighborhood was like that. And now I never did that as a kid, but back when I was a kid, the big thing was flea markets, going to the big flea markets.
Yeah, we had a big one near us in Venice. Yeah,
our old neighborhood, we'd have a community yard sale. I'm like, I know damn well the person across the fucking street is going to get something. I'm going to buy that. Like, you always ended up swapping shit and buying shit from each other. I was like, you know, just make sure you if the person living across the street from you, make sure what they're buying works, because if it doesn't, it's going to be a shit show.
I paid 50 cents for this and it's not working.
I told you, man, we had I love yard sales. Jen hates them. This is like, Jen is not a very sociable person. And when you put her in a yard sale environment, it's exacerbated. She'll argue with people over 25 cents. Me, I'm like, listen, the reason why this shit's here is I want to get rid of it. So if it's $3, you say, hey, I'll give you $2 for it. I'm like, okay. I just out the door, boom, 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 boom. I am the auctioneer of yard sale. I don't care. To the point,
I am putting the sign at the end of my driveway, no haggling.
To the point where two things. I know I mentioned this before. We sold a big tub of Legos.
Yeah. And
Legos are fucking hot commodity, right? Yard sales supposed to start at 7 o'clock. Guy shows up like around quarter of. He's like, I'll give you, and Jennifer will post on here because Lord knows no one ever lets me live this shit down, right? And I'll give you $100 for it. I was like, it's yours. Cool. Lady shows up at 7 o'clock when it starts. She's like, where's the Legos? I'm like, sold them. She goes, was it a guy? And she like named it, like she described the guy who bought them. Because apparently these are like Lego motherfuckers that go from fucking yard sale to yard sale.
Fucking Ted.
Kevin, that's about as real as it was. And I go, yeah, that was him. She goes, I thought you started at 7. I go, yeah. Well, he showed up early. Well, you're not supposed to. You said it starts at 7. Why would you start before 7? I go, it's my fucking yard sale. And she goes, I would have given you $200 for it. And Jen and Joe are like, you gave up $100. I said, do you realize, first of all, it's already sold. Secondly, she's pissed off because Ted, the fucking scammer, showed up for her. She could have said she would have given me $500 for it. She's full of shit. She can say whatever she wants. So you're going to get upset over an amount of money that's not in your pocket. You would have never. She's bullshitting you. And I never lived that one down. And then at the old house, and this is the funny. This younger girl shows up. She must have been in her teens, but she was with some older parents. They were old, and she was a little chunky. She was wearing this really skimpy like shorts and top, and she was very southerny, over the top, you know. And she's like looking around, and she's picking up this bag. Oh, I love this bag. It's got my initials on it. Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna get this, and then I see her shoplifting at a yard sale. But she's shoplifting the shit. That's the shit that's like, I'll sell it for a dime. So I just was like, okay, it's $2 for the bag or whatever. She left. I'm laughing. Like, what are you laughing? I'm like, I got rid of about 50% of that table over there. Like, well, how? I go, that freaking lady who just left just shoplift all. They're like, why don't you do something? I'm like, what? So I can get my 38 cents back? I'm like, she did me a favor. I hope she comes back at the end of the day and she can shoplift some more. I don't care. Oh, I love yard sales. Love them.
I just think, you know, like you know, I put a value on my time of sitting there for a yard sale, and we used to have them all the time as kids. Like we'd always be selling off our whatever toys that we didn't play with, clothes that we outgrew, and at least once a month, you know, there was or every couple months, whatever it was, you know, we'd have a yard sale. And I don't know, watching people just dicker over dumb shit. And like I said, I'm with Jen, but before I'll lower the price, I'll break it. I'm like, no, if it's $1 and you want to give me 50 cents, I will break it. Like now
I'll
nobody
take
can.
I'll take the 50 cents. I don't have to clean up the mess. I don't have to get rid of it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you just want the win of getting rid of it.
it's not even the win. I want to thin out the herd. And it's like
Yeah.
at that point, and like you said, at the end of the yard sales, you always get those people that freaking they know the yard sales and they wait for them to end. And then they'll pull up and they'll take everything. One time I had someone take the fucking display table. It's like, do not take table, take table. So yeah, I like them. This is gonna be a beast though, because we have a lot of crap here that we gotta sell. We have a lot of her mother's crap that we got to bring over and sell in this big, like, furniture, very country, antique furniture. And when I say antique furniture, it was just owned by an old person and was purchased years ago.
Yeah, no intrinsic value to it.
No, it's an antique because it's probably about as old as Jennifer. And it's, so not that Jennifer's old as an antique, but she tells me, she's like, oh yeah, I remember that when I was a kid. And I was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
So this is one of those sales where it's like, I want my driveway to be clear or there's going to be a fire in the backyard because I am not keeping anything. Everything's got to go. I sold my, when I at the old house, I sold that roller portable air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
We sold that one the other day. We sold another cabinet. We sold like I said, we sold the couch. We actually had some pretty good sales leading up to it, but this is like it's time to go. Time to go.
Yeah, I always hunt on my local for like the free shit at the end of the end of the driveway, and then I'm always blowing up the pictures looking for crap that I could disassemble and save the insides, like all for steampunk stuff. I have boxes of like just crap gears and whatever. So that's what I'm always looking for. Like, oh, it's broken. Good. It's free. What can I do with that? And then just take it apart. And I've done that too. I mean, my last one, I think it's been a couple of years. Jessica was in the hospital for COVID for that week. And I had to clean out the garage, got rid of my old shed, sold it because they were starting to build the new workshop and just piles of shit. Got rid of that. People were just clamoring, picking shit up for free. Scrap metal. Yeah, the scrap metal guys are we see them every Sunday because our trash comes on Monday. So they just drive up and down all the neighborhood because they know the route of all that. And then during the construction, I had like a little maybe it was like an 8-foot trailer, maybe 4 feet wide, and it was just all the construction debris went on that. All the stuff, I bagged some stuff up to save some money. I took some to work and put it away in our big dumpster. But at the end, and everything was all cleaned up. I had the trailer. I only used the trailer twice. I bought it for $350 to use it. It paid for itself. So, and then I put it on Facebook Marketplace. Trailer, $500 or $300, and you have to take all the shit that's on the trailer with you. And guy messages back, I'll take it with all your stuff. So I got rid of all the construction debris and the trailer for I think it was maybe like $25 less than what I paid for the trailer. And then I got to use it a couple times. So
that's a great deal, man.
Yeah, that's definitely good. I made my money back on that one. But yeah, I'm not I don't know. I'm just I'm not about that. I don't want people coming to my house, for a $5 item that someone's got to put. And I don't want to go to anybody else's house either, for something. I almost got murdered once, at some, and it was one of those things that was he was a woodworker, and I wanted, I forget what it was. It wasn't a belt sander, but I can't remember what it was. Had it, and he's like, oh, it's inside the house. And then like his house was like 100% packed with shit. And like you had to go through like a little tiny hallway because it was like one of these hoarder houses, but it was all furniture that he built. The guy was like 80 years old. Like he couldn't fit any more furniture in his house that he built. And then, so
he's murdered by an 80-year-old guy.
Yeah. Well, he's pushing me. So I'm going through the house. He's behind me. The house is closing in on me. And I had to go to this back room. And I'm like, this is how I've seen the horror movies. You go into the back room. There's no way to get out and no way to fight off, who not
an 80-year-old man.
I didn't know what he was capable of.
Struggle with that.
Yeah, it was. You never know. You never know. Hit me in the back of the head with something. So that one kind of spooked me a little bit. And that was the last time I ever went to anybody's house for anything.
No, we've gone to estate sales and shit like that with a lot of people. That's one thing. But actually, I bought a whole bunch of lighting equipment at an estate sale, like super cheap. I'm gonna resell that shit too. I mean, it's
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you don't bother with yard sales; they just take everything and go. Well,
I do what everybody else does. You drive around for 6 months with that shit in the back of your car.
Yes, and
before you take it to the Goodwill.
Well, I think the one thing Jennifer and I keep talking about is, we've always had clothing at our sales and stuff, and it was like, clothing's just a pain in the ass. It just is, Now the kids are bigger now, but it was when younger kids we used to sell some stuff, and some of Jennifer's nicer things she'll sell, but we'd put out clothing. I would literally throw everything in a box, and someone will walk up, they'll start looking through it, and I'll be like, $5 for that whole box. Just get rid of it. I don't want to see it. It's like, there's $1 a piece in there. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. They're going to pick through it. They're going to pick out a pair of shorts, maybe a freaking t-shirt. I just want the whole thing gone. So my goal is I'm going to have so much more room in the house. I'm going to have more room in storage. I'm going to have more room out here in the lounge. And I could actually start envisioning something. I just want to get rid of everything.
What's going on, Juan? How many hours a week you turning? You guys give away cigar boxes? I'm guessing you have. I don't know about you, Kerr, but and I take it due to St. Vincent. Please do so. We give away the majority of all of our stuff, almost all of it. If we can't find friends, Jessica just gave away a bunch of toys to my daughter's friend, or gave over to my daughter. My daughter's got a lot of her girlfriends with little kids, so like she knows who likes what. So my daughter just gave away all the toys and everything else.
I gave some stuff to our neighbor kids. We had an inflatable chair we got Joe a while back.
Yeah,
I'm like, here you go, guys. This is pretty cool. There's some toys we'll put out there. My daughter's bed that she had, it's a couple of years old, several years old, but it's like brand new. It's this really cool freaking it's like that, that green that's kind of associated with like the 60s, that kind of neon-y kind of green.
Yeah.
Like cars, it's that color. And it's a really cool little girl's freaking, bedroom set. And it's freaking all wood. It's nothing that bullshit part. It's heavy as fuck. And I'm like, just, it's a dresser, a mirror, a bed, and a headboard, 2 headboards where you can either put it together and make it like a day bed, or you can put them, on either end and have it like a freaking bed with all these little shelves and stuff. I'm like, I think we're even at the point now where we're contacting like the folks at the cancer center, and they're like, is there any kids that they're like a little girl or something that they don't mind to use furniture? Like, this isn't. There's no nicks, dents, scratches, crayons, markers, nothing on it. Thing's freaking practically new. I'll give that away in a heartbeat. But it's definitely worth at least several $100 even in the condition it's in.
Yeah,
it's just older. They still sell it. They still sell it rooms to go. The set. But yeah, it's yard sales. I picked up some pretty cool stuff at yard sales. Just driving by, and just like I picked up a few really, really cool items along the way, and some not so cool items. But all in all, we always do pretty well when we go, and we know what we're looking for. This is gonna be a 2-day yard sale too. It's gonna be 2 days. It's just that much stuff. It is. It's just that much stuff. So, I'll sit there with my beer, my cigar, and be like, sold. Take it.
Yeah. Anybody want to buy any cigars? Before we get to a Christopher's comment, which you guys puffing on, we'll get the show kicked off here. I just want Juan. This week you got lucky with 40, but you're averaging 35. You got to get those numbers up, man. Like I said, 70 is a slow week for me. Kevin at cigarprop.com. That is my email address. Shoot me an email. I'm always free to talk with you on how to get those numbers up. There's little tips and tricks that I can help you with to get you consistently doing at least 40 plus hours a week. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me, Kevin at cigarprop.com. All right. The Puff and Ponder podcast is brought to you by Simpler Hair and Beard Color. I use it. So should you. I got a weird reflection from the light. It's like this weird patch right here.
I was going to ask
but it does,
like you were scared by a ghost in that one part of your beard.
I know. That's why earlier I was like, does this go away? See that there it is. I use it. So should you. It's the easiest way to refresh your natural or your look in minutes. No mixing, no mess. Just natural looking color that blends seamlessly into your hair or beard. It's gentle, hassle-free, and designed for guys who like to keep it simple, look younger, feel more confident fast. Visit the link in the video description and simplify your grooming routine today. Also brought to you by Wise Bond Epoxy. Are you looking to cast crystal clear, deep epoxy molds for objects, memorabilia, or flowers? Do you want to pour a richly tinted, thick epoxy river table? How does only one single epoxy pour sound to you? Another product that I use as well. Your quest is over, friend. You have found America's #1 deep pour casting epoxy. Voted best thick pour epoxy resin, epoxy for clarity and all-around performance by famed YouTuber woodworker Matt's Woodworks. No more waiting around between pouring multiple resin layers. Your live edge wood river table or thick cast epoxy art project will maintain the consistent high-quality appearance you deserve and expect. We guarantee you will save time, cost, and effort with Wise Bond. Kerr, what are you puffing on tonight?
I am smoking a Robusto Magnifico. It's a 5x56, and it is the Gringo, Sweetgrass Gringo.
I am enjoying a Mombacho. This is the Audición Limitada. My neighbor gave me a couple of cigars. He gave me a Mombacho. Earlier today, I smoked an M. Bombay Mora. Beautiful cigar, just stunning. The band,
what was it?
The foot, and it was so good. It's been so long since I'd had an M. Bombay.
It's been a minute since I've had M. Bombay.
It has been, and it's really good. It's been a minute since I had anything by Mombacho. So big shout out to my neighbor Ed. Once again, flat rate is no good. Commission system was better. Some guys are thinking about that. I'm going to make $35,000 more in 2025 than I did in 2024. So I definitely we're talking about our new pay system at our jobs. He works for Tires Plus, and I absolutely love it because I know how to work this. I know how to work the system.
I had no idea you guys were talking. I thought you were talking about viewers. So I was like, okay, Kevin,
yeah.
You can have your own conversation. I don't know.
We're talking about money. He works for a fellow Tires Plus employee. So once you figure out the system, you can game it to your advantage and make a lot of money. So like I said, Kevin at cigarprop.com. I'll go over some things with you. But yeah, it's speaking of work, I hurt my knee again Saturday, Kerr.
Yeah, no, I was
the exact same way, the exact same machine as 3 years ago.
So how does that happen? How do you? I mean, outside the fact that you're
the company mandated that we all go to these stools, like the little giant ladder. You see the infomercials for them. They also have the little giant step stool. It's super safe. Can't tip over. Can't it? Can't it now? Yes, you step on it the wrong way, and it can tip over and collapse. And you wind up on your ass. And thank God I was wearing my knee brace, because I've been having a lot of problems with my knee over the last month. And I've been wearing my knee brace 24 hours. I only take it off for the shower. That's the only time I take it off. And I put it on. So luckily I was wearing it. But I got a nasty bruise on my left leg where I hit the lift. And now I screwed my shoulder up. And then so now I got to go to the doctor for that. And then I had a telehealth today.
No.
Yeah, God, they like, hey, would you like to speak with the telehealth? And I'm like, whatever. So So they call me up. We talk about my knee for like 10 minutes. And I'm trying to explain to this lady, I'm like, I have an open workers' comp claim. So they know about my knee, and because I had a follow-up today anyways for my knee, because I didn't have my first follow-up till next month, but I called them a couple weeks ago. I'm really having some issues. I'm in a lot of pain. I think there's something wrong. Can we get in earlier? So, and I'm like, I'm driving to New Orleans, even if it's something like a cortisone shot to help me. So I get there this morning, after an hour in the waiting room, in the second, not out there with the other people, they come in. Yeah, we can't see you. You hurt yourself. We've been trying to get a hold of workers' comp. Like, we can't touch you now. It's because we need to find out, is it a new, are they going to let us touch you under a new claim? Is it an existing claim? So I can't see that. And then I get this telehealth lady, and then of course she's like, well, can I see your knee? What is seeing my knee going to do? What do you want to see my knee for? I'm like, yeah. So I get over there. I'm using the same
good lighting. Hope you got good lighting.
Yeah, I know. So I pull my shorts up, and she's like, oh, I see you're wearing a knee brace. Yep. So yeah, it was the extent of looking at my knee, trying to go over whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I know all this. I have 3 years of my knee. I know everything about the knee now. There's nothing you're going to tell me about the knee. Then I'm like, we need to talk about my shoulder. I don't have any information on your shoulder. Well, that's the reason why we're talking right now, because I called a couple hours ago, and got my case number for the knee. And I told him, I said, hey, I woke up the next day, my shoulder's starting to bother me. I think I landed on it wrong. I just want to make sure that this is documented, that now I'm having a little pain in my shoulder. I don't have any of that. Okay. So we finished up that conversation. I had to call them back, the company we deal with. And the guy's like, yeah, I don't see anything on your knee at all. So I'm talking to him for a few minutes, and then he's like, oh, wait a minute. Here down at the bottom was like a little note, experiencing pain in shoulder. That was it. What the hell is going on here?
That's weird.
Yeah, I know. So he's like, oh, we'll get you a case manager now, and then they'll get a hold of you. And it's like, this is a shit show. This is a shit show.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's,
so how are you feeling today?
Knee really hurts. Only slightly more than it has been hurting for the last few weeks, but that's still a lot that it's been hurting, so yeah, I don't, if I hadn't been wearing that knee brace, I would have done some damage. I definitely would have retore something, but I think I just, I definitely twisted something, because it's like every now and then, like you'll move a certain way, and it's like an ice pick straight in the side of your of the knee, and it's just like So I'm wearing my big knee brace now with the side straps, like the big metal straps that the football players wear. So pretty much immobilizes the knee. So it's not too bad. But the shoulder, though, man, like this morning, and getting something to eat, some breakfast, and I reach out to pick up a glass of juice, and I got it up, and then I dropped it, because it was like someone from behind shoved a pick under my shoulder blade, and it was just like the wrong movement at the exact wrong time. So other than that, I mean, it's sore. Like this is really sore, but I don't know. So who knows what's going on?
No kidding.
So
well, man, you're gonna be ready. You're gonna be ready for this week, the upcoming adventures of Kevin Kerr.
Yeah, heading out to PCA. Christopher, I'm sipping on some Bacardi and Diet. Kerr, you enjoying anything?
Water. That's it. Water. Stick to the diet.
Yeah.
I had a Guinness the other day. On what was it? Sunday I sat down, had a Guinness, relaxed.
Yeah, I'm I gotta bring my it's been getting hotter at work, so I've been sweating a little bit. So I'm down like a half a pant size again. Like it's one of those things like I'm like, if I got like my phone and my wallet in my pockets, and I go to the bathroom to take a leak, like my pants will fall all the way. Like I'm having to struggle to keep my pants up, and I may have to go to suspenders. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for that, but but yeah, so I'm ready for PCA, the big drive out in there. Luckily, it's not that big of a drive, to New Orleans. So
pardon me, it'll be broken up. That's a good thing.
Yeah. We're only on the road for a few hours, and then I'll meet up with you. We'll get some breakfast, drop your car off, and then I think we're on the road for another hour before we hit our first cigar lounge.
Yeah.
A couple hours after that, hit another cigar lounge and take our time out there. I am getting hit up with people that it's their first time at PCA, and it's like, oh hey, we should meet up, we should do this, and I'm like, you've never been to PCA. This isn't a happy fun time trip. This isn't a vacation. I mean, this is especially if you're doing filming and you're doing media.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work. At the end of the day, when you leave that convention hall at 4 or 5 o'clock, you're barely going to want to do anything. It's but hopefully, like I said, they got the 2 lounges set up. So hopefully we can leave, get something to eat, and then just go and hang out at the a lounge. And
it's like that when you go to any, if you go to any of those, if you go to any, because I used to go to a lot of pharmaceutical conventions and stuff, and after a full day of on the feet, walking around, standing, talking, it's like at the end of the day, when you're done, you don't want to stand up and you don't want to talk to anybody.
That's it.
You just want to sit down, smoke a cigar, and drink.
I'm in Sarasota, Florida. So I'll be heading to New Orleans for the PCA convention and trade show, and then Kerr is in South Carolina, the Greenville area. And then we're meeting up in Valdosta, Georgia, and then heading out from there. Yeah. Hoping to run into you both at PCA. Oh yeah, right on. Hopefully, well as we get a few minutes to chat and here and there. That's it's.
You see, that's why I like. You're famous. You're well known. You got the beard and the look, and even the freaking cartoon character who's awesome. I like, no one's bothering me. No one's hitting me up to meet up the PCA. So I'll let you could go. I think that's I'm gonna be like, someone's gonna come to me. I'll be like, Kevin.
No way.
Kevin Shahan's here, right?
Yeah.
Anybody starts talking to me, I'll be like, Kevin Shahan's here, right? He's right over there, so that I can sit down and relax. So I'll let you be you, and take your selfies and your pictures and glam it up for the cameras, and I'm just going to sit back and just point in your direction.
Sinistro always has a couple of nice couches, and they got one that's always tucked like in a corner. So that for the last 2 years has been my respite, is the Sinistro booth. Like whenever Jessica and I got tired and we needed a few minutes, let's go over and see James and Coleman. We sneak over, we sit in the corner like you're hidden away from everybody, and then James will give us a cigar, and we just kick back for 10 minutes of just chilling out and just listening to the spiel. But yeah, like you said, tons of walking by the end of the show each day. You don't want to keep walking. You are. I'm just
looking at this map right now, and it's like it's massive. I mean,
it looks better than Vegas because there are better, like more aisles or more streets essentially inside. Vegas was a lot of, we need to go over there to that booth. So it was like, let's zigzag all the way through, versus at least this year, there looks like, okay, there are definitely roads and that you can, navigate. The layout looks a lot more efficient.
I'm kind of curious on the Kevin Shahan anal retentive way of navigating through this.
No, it's all you. You have the map. You have our list. It's your job to keep us on schedule. And then it's my job to do everything I can to throw that schedule off.
I did not. So basically what you're saying is, I don't remember getting that memo. So what you're saying is that this is like Get Him to the Greek, right? Did you ever see that movie?
I know of the movie. I've seen parts of it, so I know the plot of it. Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
what's his face? Who's the English guy in that movie? It's a great fucking movie. God, what is that guy's name? He's a big political activist now. I'm Jonah Hill, and you're gonna be Russell Brand.
Okay.
So,
yeah, he's going through some issues, but yeah. Oh, hopefully see you there, Leon.
Yeah, so you're gonna be Russell Brand. I'm gonna be Jonah Hill, trying to keep you freaking focused.
Well, that's why I didn't book us a ton of appointments, so we can we have enough though, so we'll get,
I'm the navigator. All right,
you're the so you're the
Lord knows, dude, we're gonna have a lot of hours to discuss these roles of responsibilities. I may have to negotiate along the way.
Yes. So yeah, hopefully we'll get there's some unique booths. There's a company that does chocolates, so they're something to do with pairing chocolates and cigars or something. So
there's a liquor place too.
Is there? Oh, there is a liquor. Yeah, I got that email. I got that email. So yeah,
I was just on their website and I was like, they got some stuff, like they have a scotch that I haven't had in years. The last time I had it was like, God, I was probably in my 20s. A girl was dating her father. They had like a timeshare in Scotland, and they brought it back over. It's the oldest distillery in Scotland. It's called Glenturret.
Okay.
And it kind of went under, and they revived it. And I was like, oh wow, it's Valentine Liquors. I'm like, oh wow, man, they got Glenturret. Oh wow, it's $1,900. Oh wow, I will admire that from afar.
Yeah. I will do my best as the world's greatest influencer to get you a sample. It's
I'll tell you, man,
I don't know. Yeah, I saw them. Yeah, so there's lots of cool, little booths like that, and trying to hit up and get some some interviews along with some bigger, hopefully we can squeeze in a few of the bigger people, in between. Like last year, I didn't have Sokka booked because his space is filled out instantly.
Sokka, yeah.
Like when Sokka sends that email, like everybody books their time and it's gone within moments. And luckily this year he sent out the VIP media 24 hours in advance. So I got a time, but like him, like he squeezed, it's like, it was like, hey, I'll give you like 10 minutes. Like I said, someone's running a little late. We can move, get in here real quick, ask your question. And then, so there'll be hopefully a lot of those that we can just squeeze in.
I'm seeing some really crazy stuff in here too. Like there's been a couple of media folks. There's the Hong Kong Creative Packing Company.
Yeah.
That's the big.
There's a bag company that I want to stop by and see as a not as a media member, but as a retailer, for me. So I definitely want to talk to the bag people. So there's a few people that I want to talk to as on a business side of it, not as a media side.
There's a thing here called Chai Molly, which has these beautiful freaking ashtrays. I mean, incredibly beautiful ashtrays. And some pretty interesting looking cigars. It's the Mi Havana factory in China. Looks like.
Yeah. And also El Septimo. Now that I'm friends with Zaya, hopefully we can get a personal tour of his $25 million Fabergé egg ashtrays.
I will not be getting near those.
You just you film from afar, and I will do my best not to knock them over. So luckily now that we're tight, so hopefully we can get some good footage, because it was funny last year, Tanya, because his $2 million or $3 million ashtray, she was smoking her cigar and he on camera talking about it, and she reaches over and tap throws the ash right into the ashtray. I don't know if that was planned, if it was a joke, but she still did ash in that ashtray. So
what it's there for. Don't care if it's $20 or $200 million or $2 million of fucking ashtray.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There are some cigar companies in here that newer. There's some in here that I was like, oh wow. I was surprised to see Blue Mountain cigars. I haven't seen Blue
Yeah.
Mountain in ages. I hope we do get a chance to catch up, like you said, with some of the. I think someone's asked me about it today, and I said, look, I'm really looking forward to be able to hopefully catch up with some of those bigger brands, but also getting a chance to meet a lot of the boutique guys who I've known over the years that I've talked to on
Yeah.
podcasts and all that crap, and never had an opportunity to actually shake their hand and meet them.
Yeah, that's always my favorite part. The retailers that I meet, each year that we chat, online with, and those are always fun. Obviously we don't. There's not too many. They're really cracking down this year on. We're not going to see a ton of people sneaking in like your average consumer.
Yeah,
sneaking in with badges, but we'll still see a few of those. They'll get in.
That's
but
fine.
so
you can't have that. You're going to have that when you have something this big, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just are.
Yeah. There are people that bring in, like Dunbarton brings in Chris Duque, flies him out from Hawaii, but you'll never see Chris outside the booth ever. Like for him, he does not. He goes to the bath. I don't even think he went to the bathroom ever. But his job is to work that booth, help him out with what's necessary, and you'll see those guys bring in people like that. That work with the companies, and then you do see some of the companies that bring in, their friends and just go and wander about, do whatever.
Yeah.
Don't bother me.
Nah, I'm looking forward to meeting James from Sinistro. I'm really excited to meet Ish from Banff and seeing Dr. Rodriguez again. I'd like to catch up and see Carlito again. I am interested in meeting the guy, El Septimo. What's his name again? Zaya. I know you said about him. Obviously, always looking forward to being able to possibly meet Matt Booth and stand in his presence.
You've never met Matt?
I never had the opportunity or the pleasure to meet Mr. Booth. I have not.
He's short.
I know. I've seen pictures.
It sometimes it takes people aback.
No. I've seen his pictures. Yeah. I'm prepared to meet Joe with long hair and a beard. This little tiny guy. I'm a larger mammal. So just meeting all the and obviously you've met Omar, so you know how big he is. You ever meet Dion Giolito from Louisiana? I never met Dion. I met who's the Caldwell.
Yeah, so I think Dion's taller than both of them.
Really? Jesus.
Yeah. Dion, every time I meet Dion, it's always the same thing. And I always like, God damn, I forget how tall you are, and he is a monster.
Yeah.
So,
I know that there are some tall guys out there. I remember meeting Omar the first time, and then I think when we were at in Tampa is when Caldwell was there, and I was like, he was standing there and you were talking to him and he stood up, or he was bent over and he stood upright, and I was like, Jesus God Almighty, that man's just huge. Also looking forward to get a chance to meet Terrence Riley too. I mean, I've talked to him a bunch.
Another tall guy.
No, he's pretty tall. So I mean, I'm looking forward to being able to have those moments, and then also navigate you swiftly, safely, and efficiently through this tireless maze.
Yeah, I got my setup here on the table. I've been charging all my batteries for everything, battery packs, backup, or like power supplies and cords and cables, and getting everything to fit in one backpack.
That's what I gotta look at. I got a couple of those power bars. I gotta find them. Yeah, we have so many of them, and we give them to the kids, and then they just lose them. It's like, because I don't ever use them. I never go anywhere to need them.
He's not super short. He's probably 5'6", 5'8". I mean, it's short, but not,
Short.
not he's not a tiny man, but he's short. I'm 6'1", so he's shorter than me. But yeah, power banks are always the big one, and then yeah, I've got two big ones, packing my in the backpack along with.
All right. So
and then I'm only bringing a GoPro for you, to film with, and I got a monopod, so you don't have to, hold it up. So it's very light. Those guys have the DSLRs on those gimbals and walking around, and I'm like, not me. I'm not that fan. I
got Kerr and a GoPro.
Yeah, that's it. Kerr and a GoPro. It shoots in 4K, just as good as any other camera, and it only weighs a few ounces. So some guys have a stigma about bringing, like, because I've got the new Samsung Galaxy S25. It shoots in 8K. It shoots better than just about every DSLR out there, because we're not going outside, so I don't need to change lenses. I don't need to do all that, but some of these guys have a stigma about carrying a phone or a GoPro. And I never understood that. They don't want to be seen with it. They want to be seen with these, like Charlie from Half Wheel has a really nice camera setup, but he's doing the majority of his are all product shots, getting the right. I understand that.
Yeah.
But that's what he's bringing. And some guys do that as well, but for me, like I said, I don't know. I mean, if you shoot in 4K, you can do all the zoom, you can do all that in post and not have, the lenses and the cameras and, the gimbals that can go bad and all of that. And,
no, if you got a good camera, like you said, or GoPro, and if it's taking quality pictures and, like you said, if you have the right lighting, I dare you to take a picture and kind of do a side-by-side comparison and be like, okay, which one was taken with Kevin's phone? Which one was taken with a freaking dude who's got 3 bags around his freaking, around them with freaking, 4 different, different lenses to attach to.
Exactly. And then I remember a couple people had said something to me, because I try and film in 9:16 vertical mode. And actually a friend of mine reached out. He's doing some unboxings for a friend of mine, and I told him, asking for advice, and I told him the same thing, film in 9:16 like I tell everybody to, because we're all watching these videos on our phone now these days. I don't like turning my phone sideways to watch a video. I'm always watching a video in the vertical format, and so does like 87% of the country, whatever the number is, super high. So I try and tell these guys, film in vertical. Who cares about horizontal cinematography? Nobody wants that. Nobody
Interesting.
cares.
So how do you get to that setting?
On what?
On your phone.
Just hold your phone like this and film vertical.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know. I mean, it's.
Oh, yeah. So, and then on the GoPro, you don't have a specific setting for that. So basically, like keep everything centered, keep everything right in the middle of the GoPro screen. So on the editing, I can just crop it out and put it in center.
Kev, you got like 8 hours to freaking instruct me on what to do. So
just hold the camera. That's it.
You're gonna be like, welcome to Louisiana, Kerr. Keep the fucking thing centered. So
the only downfall of using a GoPro is I can't plug headphones in for you to listen to the audio. I have to assume the audio is working. That's the only downfall. When you're using a camera and everything else, you can monitor audio and make sure that you can hear. So one thing I learned last year, get that microphone so it's almost touching their lips. Don't let them pull it away, and get it as close as you possibly can. And that's what I'll have to remind everybody.
Should I get my COVID vaccination booster before?
Yeah. I have little microphone condoms. Yeah, that I need for everybody. Don't have to wash them muffs out at the end of the weekend. So, but it's fun. Like I said, I'm excited to see the New Orleans. Like I said, they got 2 lounges set up because that was the biggest problem in Vegas last year. Was there was they got rid of what was called the circle bar, where everybody used to congregate every night for 4 or 5 hours. It was one bar and you got to hang out with everybody, but they got rid of the circle bar and then everybody was at like 8 different places. And it was just, it sucked because you couldn't be anywhere. So this year they got the two lounges. So should be able to sit down and see everybody after hours.
So is my curiosity, and I don't know why I don't know this, but is there going to be allowed smoking on the floor?
Yes, they verified that yesterday. There
Okay.
is smoking on the floor. And then just outside the convention center, they have a little like an area set up. Like we got to be there like Friday morning at like 10 a.m. for Pete Johnson's opening. I guess I don't know if there'll be snacks, like coffee, like a coffee bar set up outside. So you'll be able to smoke in like that designated area.
Like the open reception area, like something like that.
Yeah.
Meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, like there's areas, you can't like walk 100 yards away from the convention center and be smoking a cigar. I guess that's frowned upon.
Right.
So I guess we'll get more of those rules, when we get there. I was hoping that we'd be able to sneak in Friday and at least see the layout. But that's not looking like, it looked like we'll be able to get our badges on Friday. But last year we were able to walk everywhere Friday, unless I can meet up with Chris Duque and we can get in under his, the Dunbarton and just kind of walk around everybody, a little bit, get the lay of the land.
Yeah, we can see.
So
we'll be able to sweet talk our way in.
Yeah, and plus we have an hour on Saturday.
This is Kevin. This is Kevin.
Yeah,
Kevin from Cigar Pro.
Yeah, so we have an hour on Saturday as well to get that. But hopefully we'll get some good footage for everybody. We'll get some good interviews. It's not a lot of in-depth stuff. Basically it's 90% of everybody there is promoting a new product. So that's what you're going to hear about in the 40 videos, that we're going to the PCA, the Premium Cigar Association convention and trade shows happening this week in New Orleans. It's for manufacturers and for buyers, lounge owners, and then media, like we're media. So we'll be there filming interviews and, well, not interviews per se, just getting everybody's, what's new. And then they get 3 to 5 minutes, to talk about luckily we got 30 minutes with Saka because he's got like 10 new things coming out, so, hopefully we can squeeze, I may have to pick out like 3. All right, let's talk about these 3. I know you got 10 different things coming out. I'm excited. To hear about his 10th anniversary because him and Nick Melillo are celebrating their 10th anniversary in the business as their own companies. So they got their cigars coming out. So it's super cool. JC Newman's talking about their 130th anniversary. So
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, definitely a lot of anniversary cigars, and hopefully we get lots and lots of samples like we always do. Nothing like I know it's not the point of going out there, but it'll be good. Nice. It's always nice coming home with 50, 60, 100 cigars.
Some booty. I actually had the opportunity to meet Steve early in his launch of his. I think it was like 9 years ago. Actually, it was probably not. Yeah. So I've been company about maybe. I think it was just about 9 years ago. He did an event up at Tobacco Plus, and I think it was when he was just had the Sober Mesa out.
Yeah.
I think it was just the Sober Mesa.
That's all he had, and now it's just it's big, and I know the talk of the event is going to be AJ Fernandez, because and it looks like if you're following AJ Fernandez on social media, I didn't know his daughter was involved in the cigar company. She's been doing some videos on Instagram. Absolutely love it. She's super adorable and super knowledgeable. So excited to see they're pivoting really quickly. They've already got a new setup where they're rolling, bringing in the tobacco. I saw that today. So, but that's still going to be a big thing. Will be the AJ Fernandez, because we've got Nick Melillo. His 10th anniversary, I think, is being made at AJ, if I'm not mistaken. You got the guys from Artesano del Tobacco, Billy and Gus. They're Kerr, they're going to present us with their new Viva, I think it's the Viva La Vida Connecticut, which I think is going to be a Lancero. So, so yeah, it's they're super excited for us to be there,
Nice.
and we'll get those. So hopefully we'll get a couple of those we can stash away and smoke at a. And then Christopher Kerr, when do we get to see? You just did. You just
What?
did. He goes, when do we get to see your humidor review? You just did a second ago. He opened it up.
Yeah. Here's the need to one refrigerator. This is great for a desktop. It's got a drawer. It's got 2 shelves. You know, I'm a big fan of this. This has really been a good partner here. This holds all sorts of great cigars, including the Grace O'Malley. I still have one.
And you still have your converted closet. Didn't you convert a closet upstairs?
I did. It's now, you know, being reconverted because I'm trying to get more of my stuff into my downstairs, the big cabinet humidor, the big refrigerator, winador. So yeah. I mean, you could convert that closet big time, and I think I kind of followed after you. It's like big Tupperware containers, big storage containers that seal. You throw in a Bovita pack, and it's amazing, you know, what you could do with that. So I mean, you know, I still have a number of my Lanceros that we had 3 years ago. You know, we still have some Lanceros 3 years aged. You know, they're in a big container with Bovita pack, and then they hold tight. So I may have to bring something from the vault for us to smoke as a special occasion, because I do still have some cigars. I throughout the years I would collect these. Well, I had a pretty decent collection, and then I realized and here's where Kevin and I probably part ways. I'm like, I have all these incredibly older cigar stuff. I need to share them. So I started to share and ended up giving away most of the rare finds and the hard to finds that I collected over the years, and even smoked through 2 boxes of the Camacho cigars that I had, which I don't regret doing, but yet I do in the same breath.
Oh yeah, you know, I hear you, and
especially when we saw Christian's face, look on his face when I held up that box.
Oh yeah,
it'd have been great to have it sealed, but no, it was empty.
Yeah, you know, and I've sold, you know, the majority of my vintage cigars. I don't have very many left, you know, and I'm never going to smoke them. You know, I kept finding these good deals, so I sold them all. I sold my last laces out the other day. I only have a 5-pack left for myself.
Damn.
And you know, so that yeah, so I sold those, but yeah, it's I don't know, just collecting cigars. It became an obsession, you know, that was not healthy. How many cigars you guys tend to smoke a day? How many you smoke, Kerr, like on a work day versus non-work day?
How many do I smoke, or how many did I tell the doctor I smoke?
Yeah, it's, you know, because how many do you smoke? Because you don't smoke, because you don't smoke all day, do you? You know,
no, like I'll smoke a cigar in the morning, right? And then I'll probably light up another one. That will probably last me throughout the day if it's a Toro. You know, if I pick up, like, you know, one of these Coronas, you know, I may do a couple of these throughout the day. And then Jennifer and I have one in the evening. So I'm probably 3-4 cigars on a day like today, like a show day. I'll probably have 5.
Yeah, you know, for me, if it's a normal work day, because I don't smoke at work, because I like even today I had to go in for a little bit to check in, and I got a new side cabinet for my toolbox. So I just, you know, straightening things up, you know, just kind of cleaning my box a little bit. You know, I had a cigar when I was there. I was at work for probably 2 hours, you know, not on the clock or anything, but I never puffed on it once. You know, I brought in, I was smoking it on the way there. So I don't smoke at work, you know, because it just, one cigar would last me all day and it'd get sour. So
yeah,
when I come on a work day, minimum is 2. I always try and get 3 in, but 2 on a work day. But if it's on a day off, and I don't have like the last 2 Sundays, I had nothing to do. It'd be 10, 12 a day, on a day off.
Yeah.
So,
I've had a 9 cigar day, and that's like by the end of the day, I like, why did I do that to myself? But I mean, I work from home, and a lot of times I'm not on, I'm on the computer, and I'm doing work, and I'll puff on a cigar when I'm doing that. But a lot of times I just, if I'm busy, I'll set it down and I'll pick it back up again, or I'll walk to the bathroom and I'll set it in the ashtray and I'll forget that I did that, and I'll come back out and I'll get back to work, and then I'll be like, I know the cigar is somewhere. Or I'll walk over and I'll find it on top of the refrigerator. I'll find it on the workbench, or I'll find it somewhere where I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it right here while I go to the bathroom. And then I freaking, freaking CTE kicks in.
Yeah, I made a post last week, and it was about smoking cigars. And years ago, it was like if I'd smoke like 4 or 5 in a day, like my palate was fried. Like I couldn't smoke anything else. But when I was down for 9 months at home with my knee injury, it was I built it up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10.
Built those cigar smoking muscles.
You do, and and it doesn't take very long. It only takes a month or two, and you're at 10, 12 cigars a day, and your palate's not fried. Your palate will not get burned out. If you're eating, you're drinking, maybe a little piece of chocolate to cleanse the palate.
That's what I do a lot of, little piece of chocolate.
Yeah, people will be surprised at how, and then at the end of the day, that 10th cigar, you can taste 100% of it, every bit as much as that first cigar, but it takes some building up your tolerance to do that. Like you can't like if I like there'll be just like on a Sunday if I smoke 10 cigars, they can't be 10 heavy cigars. I got to pace out what I'm going to smoke that day, and but yeah, the average person can't do that. But if you want to build up your tolerance, hurt your knee or back, and then sit in a chair for 9 months, and you will build up your
Jessica, bring me another cigar.
That's for every now and then, that's the way it was. I had my favorite Home Depot bucket, and it was at the perfect height to rest my leg on, at the perfect angle, and that was my godsend, was my bucket, and yeah, you can you definitely build it up, unless you're on a back porch or something, back porch smoker. Like I said, those especially here in Florida. Well, I mean, I think he said he was in Georgia as well. So, but yeah, if you're sitting out back, can't smoke too many of them down here. It gets toasty warm.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's we've been in the 80s, the low 80s, high 70s last several days. So I suspect when I get back from New Orleans, it's going to be time to install the air conditioner and get ready for the heat and humidity. So it was actually so humid the last couple of days. I sent you the picture. I took out all the tobacco and I laid it out on the table. Did you see that picture?
Yeah.
And it was like within 2 days, they went from being a little crispy to being, all right, here we go again. It's amazing just how much they soak up the humidity.
Yeah, and even my humidor is starting to work overtime, which is mind-boggling, and I still haven't sat down and just thought about it, because during the winter, when it's cooler here in Florida, there's definitely a lot less humidity in the air. I wasn't going through but a gallon or 2 a week of water in my humidifier in the humidor. Now, last week I went through 4 gallons. And I'll probably end up going through 5 gallons of water this week. And I'm like, so strange. It's like the humidity's rising, the temperature's rising, but yet I'm going through more water, and I just don't know. I think maybe the AC's running more.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Hot,
that's taking that humidity and just converting it. So that's probably eating up your humidity.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been like 2 years now, and that wood has not soaked up, but like 3 or 4% humidity. Like I thought the Spanish cedar, it would soak up a lot more, a lot quicker, but it's probably going to take, I bet it's going to take 5 years
really
to season that humidor. to where that wood
Proper.
has got, proper,
Yeah.
so that's been the surprising thing about that.
Probably would have
And
happened fast for you to wipe down the walls with them, but what?
yeah. And I kept the wood outside, that's why I kept it in my workshop, where it's 90% humidity out here. Sometimes I thought that would soak it up, even more,
Yeah.
but I'm glad it's happening at a slower pace. I was, because I didn't tongue and groove them. I stacked them side by side. So I was really afraid that it was going to swell up really quickly,
Yeah.
and it was going to pop some joints. So luckily, it's doing it at such a slow pace. I'll probably never have an issue.
How big is the humidor? Aaron's
how big in the humidor? It's essentially I built it to be a walk-in humidor, but essentially it's a walk-in closet. It's a 8 foot deep, maybe 8 foot wide, 8 foot ceilings. So
it's a deep. Listen, the humidor. When I watched your tour, that humidor is a decent size. I've seen that size humidor even smaller in cigar shops. So I wouldn't really call it a walk-in closet. I look at that. That's a nice humidor.
Yes, I've had a few people message me, and a few people have said the same thing. Like I've been in lounges that didn't have a humidor as nice as you, and I'm like, yeah, same here. I've been, I've been in lounges that didn't have a humidor as big as mine.
Yeah,
so it's and it's not. I mean, we probably maybe only have around 5,000 cigars in it. Nothing, but it can hold. I mean, it'll hold every bit of probably 25,000 cigars, stacked properly and boxes and everything else. So.
You haven't had an official or proper grand opening of the lounge, have you?
No, we haven't. You're right. The more stable it becomes, for sure. Yeah, no, we were hoping to, but man, it's just so. You work a day job, then run a business at night, and we do this on Mondays, and I'm the same thing, work a day job, run a business at night, do this on Mondays. And
so how long has the lounge been open?
2 years now.
That's why I laughed when you said that the humidor is 2 years. You said after 2 years, I'm thinking to myself in the back of my head going, you're going to have the grand opening year 5 when that freaking, when you finally retire and that freaking, fully seasoned humidor is ready to go. You're going to be like, all right, I'm going to have a grand opening. Took 5 years, but
I do
grand opening.
My goal this year is to have a nice event here, and just invite a dozen guys, pick a manufacturer, probably be like, I don't know, like Aganorsa, probably get Fabian to come up from Miami, just someone that lives here, so they're not driving, forever, and Fabian's already been here once. So, just bring up and get some cigars for the guys, I'll, buy some Aganorsa and
girls,
and girls. And we'll have a little barbecue and just spend the day smoking cigars and having fun. We'll do it, in the winter time when it's at least a little cooler. I can set up a little tent outside. So
where you live, you definitely have to pick and choose when you hold.
None of this midsummertime bullshit.
Nah.
Having an event. Oh gosh, those people it's like what are you having an event in August outside?
Thank you. Is that sweat for free? Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll check out. Make sure my free cigar, you're gonna ring it out and then give it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunate. So. I mean, that's the area, man. It's crazy. I mean, even around here, we're in South Carolina, but when the summer months hit, it's brutal hot, brutal humidity. And I know Florida, you have like 10 months that are freaking hot and 2 that aren't.
Yeah, we'll go through. It's actually so we're in April already, and we've only had one hot day this year. Like when I'm at work, to where I'm sweating. It'll get to the point to where we're dripping sweat. We haven't had that yet, and we should have. So it's knock on wood. It's generally March 1st through easily September. March through September is hot, to where it's almost unbearable. But so like I said, luckily not too bad. I haven't looked up the weather in New Orleans this weekend to see what still snowing in Detroit. Get the fuck out of here.
I've been keeping an eye on New Orleans, and right now it's been really kind of similar to where it is here. Like New Orleans right now, it's 58 degrees in New Orleans, and here we're 59 degrees. So it looks like they've been pretty consistent with kind of parallel. So it's going to probably be at nights in the high 50s, low 60s, and during the day it's going to be in the mid to high 70s.
All right. He said it's still snowing in Detroit, and then that reminds me, I forgot to tell you. So I had to make an eye doctor appointment today. I tried calling my eye doctor because I got like this weird thing in my eye, Kerr. I can see it. There's a vertical line in my vision, and I don't know what it's from. I picked up a heavy tire the other day, and now I can see this line in my vision. And even with my eyelids closed. So with my eyes closed, I can still see a little line in my vision. It's driving me fucking insane. Luckily, it's in my right eye, which I'm blind in, but I still have like 5% vision, and just enough to see this goddamn line in my vision. So I called, had to get my eye doctor. I couldn't remember the name of the place he works, but I remember his name because he's like a world famous eye doctor that I have to see because of my condition. And it brought me to the website of the place, and it brought me to his bio. And it's super funny. He graduated from the University of Michigan. He's a Wolverine. My local eye doctor, that I see for like my prescription and my other checkups, she's a Buckeye. Graduated, got her degree at the University of Ohio, and this other guy got his degree at the University of Michigan.
So the world-renowned doctors from Michigan and your local eye doctor,
who probably knows more, but So, but yes.
All right, I just want to confirm
that. But she did write down something for me, about my eye condition. That she goes, and most eye doctors don't know this because they didn't grow up in Ohio. There's a condition in Ohio. If you grow up near,
there's a condition in Ohio.
Yeah. But it's something you get from a fungus that grows near rivers, and it's only found in Ohio, the only place in the country where it's found, and it can affect your vision. And she goes, it wouldn't surprise me, if you had this condition, and I'm like, that's something, nobody's ever meant. And I've been to some of the best eye doctors in the country, and they're like, cause they're not from Ohio. So they don't, they spend a lot of time studying this. So I'm like, I'm going to bring that up to him, and he'll probably be like, fucking people from Ohio,
Like, listen, it's a Buckeye. Okay. Just move along.
It's
not fungus that grows on a Buckeye, and then you got,
Yeah. So, but yeah, I found that odd, but I did choose her only because she was a Buckeye. So as I was going through a list of all the local eye doctors, because I was getting fitted for glasses, and then he said, don't come to see me. It's not what we do. Like, your company pays me a lot of money to do everything for your eye. Go to a local place. So I search, and then I'm going through everybody's bio to see like their qualifications. And when I got to her, Ohio State University, I'm like, I'm done looking.
Here's a question for you, Kev. I'll be in Detroit next week for business. Yep. What are the top 3 cigars? And he also wants to know what is behind that. What is the vibe? The vibe behind Secreto Cigar.
I didn't see that. So Secreto Cigar, 9 Mile Road, Ferndale, Michigan. I don't know how far outside Detroit Ferndale is. I think it's a suburb of Detroit. Ronnie's a great guy, a great vibe. He just got the bar reopened. It closed during COVID because of Michigan rules. And he kept it closed for another like 2 years. And now he's got the girl Heather running the bar portion of it. Ronnie's running the the lounge. It's just a kickback vibe. It's not. I have not. I've been all this virtual. I've been there virtually 100 times. it's just one of those places you just kick back and ask Ronnie, hey, how you doing today? And then or say, hey, Kevin from Cigar Prop sent me in, and then just kick back. You're going to hear about an hour's worth of fucking stories about how I stole a video of his and went viral, and how he hates me and he loves Jessica. And it's I love Ronnie. He's I can't wait to get to his lounge one day.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Boston Jimmy's getting he's rip roaring and ready to go to give away the cigar press, the Stogie Press Cigar of the Year award.
Yeah, a lot of the guys do that. They present their trophies or their plaques to the manufacturers at the convention. I probably should do that, but then I don't want to be doing what everybody else does, and then I don't know. So, but yeah, a few of the guys, I think Coop and Boston Jimmy, and yeah, a few of the guys do that. So I've got some I made some custom Tatuaje cigar rest for Pete.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to bring a few of those up for him and his guys.
See, that's cool. Not knocking the awards. I mean, I think that
it is getting down there.
It is.
No, I'm not knocking it either. So
no. I was gonna say I brought it up just because I just saw it on Facebook, and I have to imagine it's they've been doing it for some time too. So you just kind of bust out the Kevin Cigar Prop Cigar of the Year award.
Yeah. 2 years ago at my first PCA, I did send Jeremy McDonald at Wildfire Cigars. I did send him a trophy afterwards for best booth. I didn't do it last year, but we definitely got to pick out our favorite booth and do a favorite.
One of my favorite booths is Matt Booth.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So, so I sent him a karate trophy of someone like the foot in the air, and then because it was Jeremy, and then on the plaque it said kicking ass and taking names, best booth PCA, and that was I think that was a huge honor for him. I mean, just because it was funny. It was a karate trophy.
That's great
for best booth. So we'll have to pick out best booth, and some of these guys, which I never knock them. Like I say, they'll pick out like best big booth, best small booth, best newcomer. So they'll do a lot of awards, and I don't get into the awards. Like if something like Jeremy brought like a little, as a camper, it was super cool. I think he did win. I think he did win best booth overall. So but yeah, we'll definitely pick out. But it'll be interesting this year to see what because everybody's coming with new booths. A lot of people got rid of their booths. Last year at Vegas, they either sold them or told the shipping company or the storage company just to get rid of everything, and they're starting fresh. I know Saka said he was starting fresh. The only thing I hope he brings back is he had two. They were like trash cans, but like these big wooden or not wooden cardboard barrels that you would see at a convention center that people would throw trash into. But his was filled with beef jerky.
Yeah,
to the brim.
Yeah,
like 1,000 sticks. So every time we walked by, that's all I did was I grabbed one, put it in my pocket, grabbed a second one, and opened it up. So I ate a lot of beef jerky in 2 days.
I will. If I eat even one piece of beef jerky over there, I'm gonna have to freaking bring a shit ton of Toms. There's no way. So I have to ask you this, Kevin, because I definitely want you to weigh in on this. I'm curious on your thoughts. So, tariffs. I've been seeing a couple of posts here and there on how tariffs are going to do this, do that. So there's some folks actually already increasing the price of their cigars. I've seen posts this, with the, well, if you do this, you do that, it's going to be 30 cents a cigar. And then you have some folks that are like, no, it's going to be a $10 cigar. It's not going to be a $13 cigar. And there's some folks actually increasing the prices of their cigars. What are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on the price increase based off of this new release of retaliatory tariffs?
So I did a little bit of math, not in depth. McAuliffe, I think it was Dan Thompson did a great breakdown of what like a McAuliffe cigar, and it was going to increase it by like possibly like 76 cents if you use like this number, and it could go up or down. The math I did, I think I used a little bit more realistic pricing. I don't think Dan really wanted to put out there like the true cost of importing a cigar. But 50 cents a cigar, I think, across the board is what you're going to see on average. I posted that. Some people are like, well, I'm just going to smoke less. And I'm like, it's 50 cents, people. I'm like, it's not going to be, it's not going to be that big of a deal. $10 a box. Are any of us going to smoke any less for 50 cents? Are any of us going to smoke any less for $1? Probably not, because I don't think that's going to take into consideration. Now, I don't know on taxes like Colorado, New York, California, where they have, let's say 100% tax on tobacco. And I can't get the straight answer where tariffs will affect that price, which I don't think it will. So if the price of a cigar goes up, 50 cents, or say it goes up $1, and then they're already having 100% tax, is it going to go up $2? And from what I'm seeing, that's not the case. Like tariffs aren't included in that wholesale pricing to where taxes are based off of. So yeah, if it goes up, no matter what state you live in, what taxes, 50 cents, is it going to cause any issues? I'm not seeing that, I don't feel that anybody is. I think a lot of people want to say that they're going to smoke less, and some people may, 50 cents, maybe a lot, or $1, maybe a lot. I think you're going to see a lot of people. Nobody is going to smoke less, but I think some people may smoke less of their premium cigars and maybe try and find a less expensive cigar. So if it's a $9 cigar going to $10, maybe they'll try and find that $8 cigar that's going to go to $9 and then just smoke as many of those. Or they're going to bump up in sizes. I think you're going to see a 660 Gordos, because realistically a 660 versus a Toro Robusto, the price difference really isn't that much, on that. So maybe people will go up in size thinking they're going to get a better deal.
So my question to you is this: is the whole strategy, from what I understand, is to throw out these retaliatory taxes or what have you, in order to get rid of our tariffs, in order to get rid of the tariffs, right? So what happens if tomorrow Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, whomever, they go, oh, you know what? You win. We're gonna we concede. Let's kind of just do away with all this tariff stuff, so we can kind of get our business back in order. Are you going to see a shift of people lowering their prices? Do you think people are increasing their prices too early to see if maybe this strategy is going to work, or or is it just good business trying to stay ahead of the curve as you're moving forward? Okay.
Yeah, I shut it off to take a drink, so you don't hear the ice clanking around. But if you're already raising your prices because of the tariffs, you're a piece of shit. That I'm just throwing that out there, because you haven't paid. It's the same thing with the gas stations.
We just reduced our interviews this week.
That gas stations raise and lower their prices based on futures versus not what they paid for that gas that's currently in the tanks in the ground. If you already have your cigars in the country,
right?
And that's a big difference. Some people don't have them in the country, so they're raising their prices because they're keeping them overseas. And so they're expecting the prices to go up. So they want to keep ahead of that. I understand that. But there are places over here that use bonded warehouses that their cigars are here sitting in the U.S. And there are a couple of companies that have already, talked about, we're going to have to raise our prices.
I've already seen announcements. I've seen a few announcements.
Yeah. And I just want,
10% or whatever.
I want to say you're a piece of shit for doing that, but I don't know your business. I don't know everything about it. So I could just be speaking out of turn, but I would think that
maybe you want to rephrase that you're a piece of shit. Maybe
not
okay.
at all. But yeah, so if the tariffs aren't going to affect you because your product is already in-house, or I heard one manufacturer talking about possibly a small increase, not the full increase of the taxes, not the full 8%, doing a 5% now to make a little bit of money. So when the tariffs take effect, they don't have to charge the 18%. They can still charge they only have to raise it 5% and kind of keep that wiggle room. So I don't know. So like I said, I apologize for calling anybody a piece of shit for raising the prices, because I don't know your business model, and I will take that back. But it's not just about retaliatory taxes or tariffs. You look at Vietnam today. Vietnam conceded and said, you know what? Okay, 0% tariffs. We're not going to tariff. We'll drop ours to 0. You drop yours to 0. And then the administration said, no, that's not good enough. That's not, exactly what the tariffs are about, because China gets around their tariffs by flooding Vietnam and then exporting through Vietnam. So China is going to get a 0% tariff by putting all the shit through Vietnam and then sending it to the US. So that's a way to get around. So basically the Trump administration is like, yeah, so we appreciate you want to come to the table here, but let's talk about making this fair. Yeah, 0 for 0 isn't necessarily fair. Now, I think the EU, said, I don't know if that was a legit story, that they agreed to drop theirs to 0 if we drop ours to 0. So that might be,
was that next to the story about Aaron Rodgers signing with the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, but I've been following the Vietnam one. So, and then Argentina, I think, did the same thing. They're going to drop theirs to 0. And then we're expected to drop ours from 0. So countries like that, it is retaliatory. Other countries like Vietnam, it's not just about the tariffs. It's about their shit business model and flooding our markets, and then, stealing our, intellectual property and everything else. So it's not just about tariffs. It's about punishing them for, being a shit country, and just, but.
So, you bring up a good point, because you don't know the business model, right? It is pretty tough. But I think it's kind of, if you're saying, look, I'm going to raise my prices of my product 10%, because there's a 10% increase in tariffs coming out of the Dominican Republic, for example. If the Dominican Republic comes back and says, okay, we're going to drop it, let's kind of concede. How do you unring that bell of raising your prices 10%?
Yeah, how do you unring that bell? You're right, because you made the jump ahead of time. So Steve Saka, he'd said, he goes, until he sees the invoice, he's not doing anything. Until he he sees the actual numbers on the paper, that he's being charged more. He's not. And there's other manufacturers that have said the same thing. Until we see how this is going to pan out, and if this is really going to go this way, we're not going to jump the gun and start raising our prices. Now it is a concern for PCA. I think Coop did a great article. You have to go to cigarcoop.com or cigar-coop.com and check out that. He's talked to some manufacturers about PCA. How are you going to do the pricing? Because PCA, you order now and you get your cigar 6 months from now or 9 months from now. That's kind of the business model. And, so you offer all these deals now, but then when the cigars come out, how are these deals, and so the few people I think in the article he said talk to, they're gonna, whatever deals are deals. They're gonna honor.
Yeah, they're gonna raise prices after PCA.
Yeah, they'll
because of the date. This is all supposed
yeah.
to kick in like April 9th or whatever. And
Yeah,
I know a lot
exactly.
of folks have said it's going to be after PCA. Prices are going to be, increased by X amount, which, to your point, if you're filling orders and you're emptying out the warehouse and your next shipment's going to be 10% more, I get that. I understand that. And again, my humble opinion, I still think we're in a watch and wait period, because I think there is still, if this is done to force the hands of some of these countries, I understand being a businessman and being a little intrepid and not knowing when to make that decision, because it's going to be a tough one. But to your point, if you're making that decision immediately, is that the right decision? Because in 2 or 3 months from now, when they drop that tariff, are you just going to quietly just keep your cigars at 10% more? So now you're making more profit, and you use that tariff in order to increase the price of your cigars. Or are you going to do the right thing and come back and say, hey, listen, they dropped the tariff, our prices are going back to normal.
If
a lot of price sheets that are going to be
if your customers spend 6 months paying higher prices, and then you haven't seen a dip in business at all. Like, it's like, oh, the business is the exact same, or it's grown a little bit, and the tariffs go away. Like you said, there wasn't a drop in business. I can see if there's a drop. Okay, so we lost a little bit of business. 5% of our business has decreased. Let's make a big announcement. Tariffs are done. They're going away. We're dropping our prices. Maybe you get that 5% of your customers back. But if you don't have any dip, you don't have any incentive to, unring that bell. Like you said, lower those prices. You're just going to make 10% more. Me personally, I have my cigars made in Dominican Republic, at Artista, and 10%, I'm just going to eat it. I'll eat 10%. I don't want to raise my prices. Right. I have enough margin, but I don't have a brick and mortar. I don't have rent to pay. I don't have that. So I'm way different than anything else. So I'll just eat the 10%.
Well, the brick and mortar, I think with the brick and mortars, I think that is just going to be, their price increase is just going to be the byproduct of what they're experiencing. And it should be. Let me preface that. The price increase on the brick and mortar side should be in parallel with any increases that they are experiencing when it comes to bringing in cigars. Yes. There may be some folks that may try and take advantage of it. However, I think if you are, and most of the cigar shops are pretty reputable. I mean, I've been to so many of them. All of them have been great. Not all of them. Very few I've gone into where the owners, I'm like, but you're not going to hoodwink your customers by saying, because of the tariffs, I'm going to raise all my prices 10%. You're like, hold on for a second. How can you raise Cigar Prop cigars by 10% when he hasn't increased his prices? He's made the announcement. Or Saka, how are you going to justify increasing an individual brand that's made a declarative statement that they're not going to raise their prices, but yet you're going to try and hoodwink the consumer into increasing your prices? So I
think you might see a lot of big brands to try and make a statement. Like, so Ford and Nissan came out. Nissan really can't raise their prices because Nissan's getting ready to go out of business anyways. They said they're just going to eat it. They're going to find ways to save money in either manufacturing processes or anything else, and they're just going to eat it. Ford said same thing. We're not raising our prices. We're gonna eat. And in fact, Ford, I think, lowered their prices. They're doing like employee pricing right now. Yeah. So Ford is they're going to eat it. General Motors is expected to follow suit and eat the tariff pricing. So I think you're going to see some other big businesses follow suit and want to be the one that advertises that. The big ones like STG, General, the giant companies that are billion-dollar companies. I think you're going to see them like, here at STG, we know things are tight right now for American families, and we've decided to, not increase our prices, and we're just going to eat eat the difference in hopes that people are like, oh my God, look at that, and
Yeah.
maybe and obviously, volume makes up for everything. And, and if they can get a company like STG, if they can get a 1% bump in sales equivalent to, $100 million or whatever, pick a random number, they'll end up making more by selling more cigars than it will have cost them to do. The smaller companies will suffer a little bit that run on tighter margins. Some of these smaller boutique companies,
I can see that.
That can't afford it, but I don't know. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see, where we go with this. And so far, it seems to be working. The threat of the tariffs. Countries are coming to the table. Let's talk. Let's talk about not only tariffs, but let's talk about these other things. These trade imbalances. That we're having. So a lot of it is the trade imbalance, which is the issue. And I know Canadians are suffering right now. I do feel for our neighbors to the north, because we buy like 75% of everything they produce, so it's gonna hurt their economy a little bit.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I find it interesting. I'm going to be very interested in how, and it's going to be discussed and addressed, at the PCA. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of buzz around it, and there's going to be some discussion. So I'm going to be very interested to what we hear.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the number one thing that the lounge owners are going to be talking about to the So it'll be like our friends in the industry, like James at Sinistro and a couple of those guys. I'll be interesting off camera, off record, like what are the lounge owners saying?
Yeah,
like is this a big concern? What are you guys doing? And you're going to hear some interviews, bringing that up. And I don't want to talk about two things. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the AJ fire, because that's just it is what it is. And I don't want to talk about tariffs. I don't want to get into that and the thoughts and speculation and this and that. And we're there to have a good time and talk about the new stuff coming out. But yeah,
I think that one's going to be inevitable, though. It is definitely going to be a buzz. So I'll probably keep my ears open more than ask the questions about it.
Oh, exactly.
Just disengage. But
yeah. And then did you see that? Did you see the Buffalo Trace distillery flooded?
Really? No, I didn't
see
that.
And them barrel barns are really tall. And the one I saw, like there couldn't have been like one layer that wasn't underwater. And and some of those, I don't know about Buffalo Trace. I'm not a Buffalo Trace guy, but they can sit in those barrels for years. Could you imagine if it was like one of their 20-year, if they have one, I don't know, and losing a rick house, that had 20-year bourbon in it and just gone.
You could actually sell it to some of the bars that already watered down their drinks. Free water.
Yeah, especially with Ohio River water, and or wherever. Yeah. So no point talking about it will just overshadow what we want to hear about in the world of cigar releases. 100%. I don't want to hear about that shit either.
Yeah. No, we won't be asking any questions about it at the PCA. I definitely know it's going to be a topic, and I think
it's already something they're worried about.
Foolhardy,
Yeah, they're already worried about it. So
I think you said something that really makes a lot of sense. I think is going to be the number one question on coming from retailers is, hey, these prices, these deals, are these here now? What's going to happen after PCA? Are your prices going up? I think that's going to be a fair and common question.
I think so. And then what I'm really interested in hearing, because nobody talks about numbers. It's rare that anybody, but they'll talk to, privately, me, you, Coop, Charlie, off the record, like how they did. Like, oh yeah, we had like a 10% increase. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to seeing what the deals are and if people are going to buy more because of the deals.
That's what I was thinking too.
So you go to Sinistro, you go to Apostate, you go to Foundation, and they're like, listen, these are the deals we're offering. We're going to hold true to these deals. We can't be sure in 6 months. If you only order like Foundation, if you only order 10 boxes of our 10th anniversary, we're going to give you this price today. Mm-hmm. In 6 months, when these come out, if you haven't ordered, I can't honor these prices. So instead of the 10 boxes, do you order 20, 50?
I think that is, I think I kind of, when I think a fair response to that, to what you were talking about is, you have your folks who are already announcing that they're going to raise their prices at PCA. I think a fair response from someone is, you know what, here's your prices today. We got to revisit this in 3 months or 6 months, because of the sustainability at these prices. If there is an increase in tariffs, we have to make an adjustment. I think that's a fair response. And then you let the owner of the cigar lounge make their decision. You're not trying to scare them. You're not trying to sway them. And I think that is a fair assessment. If you're on that fence of, hey, these are the prices today, buy them up now because come April freaking 10th, it's going to go up 10%. I think at that point you're trying to capitalize on a situation. I personally, if I was a retailer going to that would turn me off immediately. If someone was saying, buy this today because it's the best price because in 3 days I'm increasing it by 10%, I would say, well, then in 3 days increase by 10%, I'll go buy elsewhere. I mean, it may sound a little too critical to some folks, but I'm in sales. I've been in sales my whole career, and I think there are certain areas that people try and capitalize. They're opportunists, and there's other folks that are going to give you that honest response. And I'd much rather hear from somebody, hey, you know what, Kerr? These are the prices today. We're having some great deals. In 3 months, we got to revisit this. In 6 months, we have to revisit this because if these tariffs continue on, it's probably not going to get any prettier for us. So we may have to increase our price. So we're probably going to increase. That's a fair answer, and I think an astute answer based off of what we know now and what the future could hold.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Gary, the best retailers in South Florida and the worst in West Michigan. I live in Florida. There are great retailers down here and there are bad retailers down here, and it is what it is, so, I'm interested to see if the numbers are going to be way up because retailers are scared about the future of where they're going to be at. So are we going to buy more now, because, like the Eddie Murphy Trading Places, I'm worried about whether I'm going to get my kid the G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip. Mm-hmm. And people are panicking. So
great reference.
Yeah. So I think people are going to panic and they're going to buy more to lock in the prices on the new stuff because there's so much new stuff coming out. So many crazy, like tons of anniversary cigars, lots of new stuff. So, I think people are going to panic and they're going to buy more. So I'm interested to see. Interested to see if that is truly
that's Kevin's prediction.
See if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think I would be definitely interested in seeing how that turns out because you're talking about a range anywhere from 10 to 18% depending on what country you're buying it from.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. It's 10% Dominican Republic. I think like 18% is Nicaragua and 15% Honduras, and all points in between is somewhere in that sweet spot.
Yeah, and I think that's why I mean you've been seeing it for years. We talk privately with manufacturers, and there are people leaving Nicaragua. Companies.
Well, a couple years ago, they tried to do that whole copyright or the trademark,
the trademark thing, and then it was it's just a bunch of other stuff and people moving over the border to Honduras, Costa Rica, and they just want to get out of the nonsense that is Honduras. Did you see, or Nicaragua? Did you see Jeff Borshwitz got denied entry into Nicaragua?
Really?
And he I guess the whole Corona team went down there, and which I know they do, at least once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up going to Honduras, and then a lot of the team, drove up from Nicaragua to do whatever. I don't know, factory tours, field tours. I don't know what he does down there, but yeah, he was denied entry into Nicaragua. So,
driving from Honduras into Nicaragua.
No, flying into Nicaragua. They wouldn't let him. Okay. Yeah, they wouldn't let him into the country, and which they didn't, but they do monitor social media. I know we had a guest, the guy that was on, I forget who he was with. He was with that smaller company. One of I think it was the first episode of the year, which he told the story about, going through the jungle and the rock and everything else. And so I don't know if I ever told you this. I had to edit part of that video out on YouTube.
Oh, really? The rock.
Where he talked about a specific part, and because he had said, they watch social media and they watch people, and he goes, he didn't want that guy getting in trouble with the country, because he had talked about, they had to pay off the military to get through or whatever. So but so they do monitor social media. So and Jeff is very vocal on social media about what he feels is right and not right. And I don't think he's ever said anything bad about Nicaragua. It's where cigars are made. So something he said didn't set well with them. And but he said, he goes, I'd rather be denied entry than be put in jail in Nicaragua.
Oh yeah. You don't want to be granted entry and be like, hey, guess what? You can't leave.
Yeah.
That would suck.
That would definitely suck.
Yeah, because that's not there's a lot of Americans, they don't get that. It's like, it's not your U.S. police and U.S. jails. It doesn't happen like that.
They monitor social media. They monitor, a buddy of mine was denied entry, and it took him like 2 weeks to go to Australia for vacation. He had a DUI like 20 years ago in the States, and that came up, and they told me he couldn't come in. So then he had to go through some rigmarole and whatever, and then they finally, let him in. But all his friends and family had already been there for a few days, and he came in late. But yeah, so other countries, not like the U.S. where we'll let anybody in. Other countries a little bit more stringent.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it is amazing, but that is that's crazy though.
So,
I did want to say one other thing before we wrap up. Have you been following basketball, the Final Four?
Just the upset by now I can't think of was it Duke?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, when they're all number one teams, it's an upset, slight upset. But Houston beat Duke, and there's a controversial play that happened that they said lost Duke. They called the guy for a foul, which didn't look like a foul. It's pretty interesting. Not a lot of folks were happy about it, and then Florida beat Auburn, so it's going to be Florida and Houston.
Yeah, I saw that, and then I did see that the NFL has announced that they are going to the camera system for first downs this year. So that is a lock. The chain gang will only be there for backup and just essentially be there because they've always been there. So I did see that as well.
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. Don't like it, man. I want to see the chain gang come out. I want to see them stretch that chain out and and everybody waiting to see where that freaking tip of the ball is.
Just like that video you sent me a little bit ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So where it was obviously short and they gave it to him anyways. So I want to see that shit stop.
Nah.
So,
well, he paid for it. Look what Clowney did
Yeah.
on the next play.
Yeah, that's it. So that doesn't
No,
always
man.
happen.
I know it doesn't always happen, but that's part of the game. Is you go into your hometown, you go into the hometown, you're the other team, and you get royally screwed, and it fires you up for next year's game. The technology of bringing TVs in, I don't like it. Bring the chain gang. Give me someone I could scream and curse at and yell at when I don't see the freaking.
Yeah, I know.
I'm old school. That is. I'm having a hard enough time adjusting the damn kickoff. Now this whole thing. Forget about it, man. I don't know. It's like instant replay, TV first downs. It's like Jesus. You're taking away that part of the game, which was always the homer, which always gives someone to bitch about. So,
what's up, Brittany? Gary, I didn't know your mom lived in Canada. So, but hopefully you can get back to see her sometime soon. So yeah, so we'll leave it on that. Final four. We'll get I'm glad to see the chain gang get rid of and just make them. I'm about technology, and I want because my teams have been screwed. But for as many times they've been screwed, they've also screwed the other teams. So
say, man, it comes around. It happens all the time, and it builds animosity. It builds these big battles against one another. Now it's like, what are you going to do? Be pissed off at a TV?
Yeah,
come on, Evan, you're better than that.
So, all right, everybody, we're off next Monday because Kerr and I will be driving back from New Orleans. So we'll be back the following Monday. I'll see if we can get maybe James from Sinistro or Coleman, or we'll get somebody on the show. We'll talk about see how sales did, see how my prediction went, and maybe talk a little bit about the tariffs if they've heard any more. So, and then or we'll get like Tim and a couple other media guys on and see how like we normally do a media show. So we'll figure something out. So either way, we'll see everybody back in a few weeks. So
all right. Yeah, looking forward to it. We'll have plenty of stories to tell. And you never know. Keep your eyes open. We may even do a couple of videos from the road.
Oh, that's what I'm hoping. At least maybe go Instagram Live or YouTube Live. So follow 100%. Us in the description below, and we'll see everybody in a few weeks.
All right, Brittany, take care of that elbow.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. Yes, Kevin and her. Grab your seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and Kerr with stories in mind. From tech tips to last night's game, join the talk, you'll be glad you came. Puff and Ponder sports take flight, where conversations ignite.